My dad was so desperate for an heir, he literally kidnapped a fox spirit to spend the night with him. But by morning, that fox had turned into a drop-dead gorgeous woman. My dad dropped to his knees begging for mercy, but she just wanted to keep it going every single night. 9 months later, that fox spirit gave birth to me. Years later, I was up in the mountains chopping wood when I spotted a giant python crushing a little fox. I didn't think twice. I hurled my axe and split that snake right in the head. The python thrashed around a couple times, then went still for good. The little fox survived, but it was pretty badly hurt. I rushed it home and patched it up with herbal medicine. A few days later, it was already running around like nothing ever happened. After that, the little fox flat out refused to leave my place. Problem was, I was an orphan, barely keeping myself fed. I tried shooing it back into the woods a few times, but it always came back at night. It'd show up carrying wild fruit, rabbits, or chickens in its mouth. That's when it clicked. This little thing could totally take care of itself. So I stopped stressing and just let it stay. The little fox stayed by my side all the way until I turned 18. That year, it suddenly vanished, and I was just about to head out looking for it, when an old woman with a cane showed up at my door. "I'm looking for my granddaughter. Have you seen her?" My stomach dropped. Nobody from outside the village had come around lately. "Who's your granddaughter?" She cleared her throat and fixed her eyes on me. "A few years back, I left town and had my granddaughter watch the house. When I came back, she was gone. Someone told me she's been living at your place." I was stunned. There was clearly no one here but me. "Ma'am, you must have the wrong person." She nodded, but her eyes drifted straight to my kitchen. I turned around, and there was the little fox sitting right there. It wagged its tail at the old lady, almost like it was smiling. The old woman took one look at the fox and just walked away without a word. That night, the fox curled up on my belly like usual and went to sleep. But when I woke up the next morning, it was gone again. I'd barely gotten out of bed when I noticed a red pouch sitting on the table. Inside was a lock of hair wrapped up in red paper. I had no idea what it meant, so I took it to the village chief. The moment he saw it, he burst out laughing. "Oh wow, some girl is totally into you. Take this over to her family and propose." "Come on, spill it. Which girl sent this?" I just stood there baffled. Could the fox have actually brought this? But from that day on, the little fox never showed up again. After it left, I felt this hollow emptiness inside. I searched all over the mountains every single day, but found nothing. Over half a month passed, and it was still nowhere to be found. I completely gave up hope, convinced I'd never see it again. Then one night, about half a month later, another old woman was crouched outside my door, crying. "Are you okay?" She snapped her head up, her voice raspy and rough. "I'm looking for my grandson. He's gone missing." "You've seen him, haven't you?" "Last time it was a granddaughter, now it's a grandson, both showing up at my door." "I haven't seen your grandson." A strange, hazy look spread across the old woman's face. "What about 6 years ago? Did you see my grandson back then?" She was basically interrogating me, and I had zero idea what she was talking about. "Ma'am, I'm telling you, you've got the wrong person." She went quiet after I said that, but a creepy smile crept across her face. I backed away in fear and stumbled all the way to the village chief's house. I told him everything that had happened. He froze, then slowly raised his hand and pointed behind me. "Is that the one you're talking about?" A chill ran down my spine as I slowly turned around. The old woman was standing right behind me, not a sound. I scrambled behind the village chief. He looked her up and down. "Which village are you from? Scaring a kid in the middle of the night. Not cool." The old woman spoke in a low, heavy voice. "I'm here for my grandson." No matter what the chief asked after that, she just kept that eerie smile and refused to say another word. He handed her 2 eggs. "Take these and get out. Stop scaring people." But she barely even glanced at them and smashed them both on the ground. "He killed my grandson! I'll haunt him for the rest of his life!" The chief's face went pale. He quickly told me to turn on the yard light. I flipped the switch and the whole front of the house lit up. That's when I saw it. A red banded snake coiled around her shoulder. Fangs bared, locked dead onto me. The chief panicked and leaned in close. "Quick, look! Does that old woman even have a shadow?" I spun around and she was standing right under the light. No shadow. Cold sweat poured down my back. I was so terrified I couldn't even get a word out. "Don't be scared. There's an ancestral sword inside. Go grab it, quick!" I ran inside shaking and tore the place apart looking for it. There was no sword. By the time I came back out, the old woman was already gone. The chief yanked me inside and bolted the door shut. "Kid, there's no sword. I made that up to get rid of her. You've got something seriously unclean after you." He turned off the lights and asked if I'd ever messed with something I shouldn't have. I thought hard. I'd never done anything to anyone my whole life. "Have you ever killed something you had no business killing?" That question hit me. I suddenly remembered something from 6 years ago. To save the little fox, I had killed a white snake. The moment I told him, he shuddered. "You unlucky kid! You can't just go killing things up in those mountains!" He said he'd take me to a shaman the next day to get this sorted out. For tonight, I'd sleep in his room, and no matter who called my name, don't answer. I kept that in mind and barely dared to breathe. But around midnight, strange noises started coming from outside. Then came the old woman sobbing. I glanced up and saw a hunched figure moving past the window. It shuffled along, then suddenly pressed itself against the glass, searching for me. "Get under the covers and don't look." I dove under the blanket, heart absolutely pounding. But the sobbing kept drifting in and out, on and off. It just wouldn't stop. It wasn't until past 3 a.m. that things finally went quiet outside. I still didn't dare come out. It was a long time before I finally drifted off. In my dream, the white snake appeared again. "Give me back my life!" I jolted awake from the nightmare and sat straight up. It was already light outside. The chief was standing right at my bedside. Time to move. We were heading to the next village to find the shaman.